men with cerebral palsy.
And of course, you can hear the noise in the crowd because we've got Graham Ballard in this, who is the world record holder with a time of 11:98. And also we've got the Paralympic record holder also in the race, Evgeny Shevkov of Russia,
who ran really fast in the prelims. I would say that Evgeny is the guy to look to right now, and we'll see whether Graham Ballard can manage his nerves. He's had a bit of an issue with nerves in the past, and that's going to be a question right here in the finals for him.
So in sprinting, obviously nerves are absolutely key because you've got to get that start, and if you're nervous, you're in trouble.
You've got to get that start, but the other part of it is that you actually have to stay calm. And here's Graham Ballard right there.
Listen to that.
Trying to look into his eyes and see if there's some calm in his eyes. Next to him is Ben Rushgrove.
The British
the two have been trading back and forth.
Ukrainian Roman Pavlik.
And I think for these guys with cerebral palsy, it's actually there's a bit of a multiplying effect as well. If you get caught up in the nerves, that the disability can actually take over as well. And so it's not just, so it really is very, very critical for them to manage those nerves and kind of direct that energy in a positive way.
So away from Hong Kong, China, and Zhu Ran from China in the outside lane, 26 years of age. It's not a bad name if you're a runner, is it? Zhu Ran.
Don't know how it translates in Chinese, but it works for us, for the English-speaking population.
My Mandarin's not what it was, but I think it means very fast runner. But that might be Cantonese. Well, I get those confused.
I can see where you might do that.
So let's hope. You've worried me now about Graham Ballard with his nerves.
It's a question, and it's one of the beauties of competing at home, and it's one of the difficulties of competing at home, that there's so much more of an emotional impact in every race.
It's not so much that he's a British runner and I'm British. It's more to do, I just worry that anyone would get disqualified when they've worked so hard to get here.
Oh, I don't think he's risking disqualification.
Here we go then. Graham Ballard in 3, Ben Rushgrove in 4, Pavlik
and he got out fast.
5. And he's going really well. Graham Ballard from Great Britain. He's got the Chinaman on the inside. He's also got competition there from the Russian who's come past him. Russia are going to get it. Russia have got the gold medal. Shvetsov of Russia. Then it looked like Graham Ballard in lane 4 got the silver, and I think it was Che of China who got the bronze. Couldn't be sure of that, but
looked like a new Paralympic record as well of 12.08, so knocking another 300ths off of his existing Paralympic record.
12.08.
You see it needs to be ratified, obviously.
And Graham Ballard with a time of 12.24, so he will get the silver and the bronze medal. Just waiting for confirmation of who got the bronze. It looked very tight. There's Graham Ballard coming to
gold and silver.
Congratulate the Russian who wasn't aware of him at all. Let's just have a look at a replay here. Roman Pavlik of the Ukraine with a personal best got the bronze here. Graham Ballard, shorter runner there, and he looked to have it under control, but the Russian battled and battled and battled to came through to get that gold medal.
Yeah, the second half of the race, the Russian ran a really good race. As you saw, Ballard got out first, but
I wonder
Evgeny's just stayed calm. And
I wonder if it's because the Russian was a bigger man. Is it fair to say that a shorter runner like that would get away more quickly, but then not have the momentum in the second half?
It's not always the case necessarily as far as stature is concerned.
Just tell me if I'm talking rubbish, Chris.
No.
You're just a theory I'd invented.
No, it's a great thought. It really is. It's a great thought, but at the same time, no, I mean, there is oftentimes the idea that a shorter runner will have a quicker turnover, as a result, have a quicker start, but not necessarily always the case. There are always the exceptions to the rule.
I'm just thinking, when I used to have a scooter to ride around London, very small, lightweight scooter with a little engine, you could beat big heavy cars away from the traffic lights, but then they would catch up with you because you were lighter to start with, but then they had a bigger engine. And I think that's what happened in that race. Shvetsov of Russia had a bigger engine. Graham Ballard, he was like the little scooter getting away, but then the big Russian in the big car came and caught him up.
Well, that's true, but Ballard's a good 200-meter runner as well, isn't he? We'll be looking for him later on in the 200 meters, and we'll have to test your theory as we get into that 200 meters. Maybe that'll give us a good opportunity.
Well, it is an interesting theory that I've just come up with there. So Evgeny, don't get a minute, do we? What, you just get the discus.
That's right.
And then suddenly it's the men's
400 meters T36 class. Okay, T36. Have another go.
T for track,
yes.
3 for cerebral palsy, 6 for not particularly impaired.
Middle of the road.
Middle,
yeah.
8 would be not particularly impaired.
That's right.
Yeah,
8's the mildest. 6 is usually lower limbs affected.
I feel under pressure when you ask me those.
You're doing great. Quiz. We can have a bit of a quiz going.
Yeah, maybe
Send us questions in.
Maybe there could be a gift for the winner. Cheryl van der Merwe says it's a Twitter handle. Yeah, a Twitter handle. You know, I was saying is it Twitter name or Twitter address?
A Twitter handle.
Twitter handle, yeah. You know, I was saying is it a Twitter name or address? And they'd like to follow you, but your account is locked, apparently. Do you have an account on Twitter?
Do.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, you should be able to. Oh, maybe I have to say, yes, I'll let you follow me. So send me a request and I'll be doing it as we speak tonight.
What is your Twitter handle?
My handle is Katrina L. Webb. My middle name is Lee, so Katrina L. Webb. I couldn't get Katrina Webb, someone else had it before me. Katrina L. Webb. Yeah,
I couldn't get Jeremy Nicholas. I had to have Jeremy _ Nicholas because my middle name is underscore. So,
So here we go. Paul Blake, lane 5. Wow, what a moment for him.
Just 22 years of age from Great Britain. His PB is 55.20, which he set earlier this year. And he'll be one of the favourites in this race because he's got far and away the best PB. There's the Russian. So the competition could well come from Shvetkov, we saw the other night, from Russia. That's the other Russian, Arafiev. And Mia Che of China, Che Mian, and Andrei Zhernov on the outside from Russia.
Just looking at the different countries in these races, Russia and Ukraine and Great Britain, we were talking today at lunch just saying how can we get the Paralympic movement into other countries, other developing countries, and I think you'll see now for the next 4 to 8 years emphasis placed on countries like India that are really not participating in the games.
So 2.682, Shvetkov of Russia, look out for him, and 2.306 in the colours of Great Britain, white and blue.
World record of 54.13.
It's the men's 400 metres, T36 for runners with cerebral palsy, the final. Gold, silver and bronze on offer. And the world record holder Roman Pavlik in the race.
Lane 4. And they're out of the blocks as fast, going well, just getting the feed.
Pavlik is storming in lane 4. Roman Pavlik, the world record holder, is going extremely well. The Brits going very well, Blake as well. But it's Pavlik who's going very well. Both the Russians doing well as well. Shvetkov, it's hard to see who's going to get this one. It's Shvetkov in the lead. He's being tracked by the Briton, Blake. It's Shvetkov, then Blake, then it's the other Russian. And the Ukrainian who went off really quickly, Pavlik, is now coming back into it. But it's Shvetkov in the lead. Evgeny Shvetkov being tracked by Paul Blake of Great Britain. The crowd roaring Blake on, but it's Shvetkov who's going to get it. Shvetkov of Russia is going to get gold. Blake will get the silver, and the Ukrainian will have to settle for bronze. They're just tying up a little bit towards the end, but Shvetkov of Russia gets it, and it's a world record.
He was tiring at the end. He didn't even finish through the line to break a real world record, 53.32.
All three of the lead runners there just seemed that they didn't enjoy the last 30 metres or so. They just tied up because they'd given so much. The lactic acid really builds up in a race like that. And 53.31 for Evgeny Shvetkov. That is a new world record. Personal best for Paul Blake in second. Personal best for the former world record holder, Roman Pavlik of the Ukraine, in third. And the Russians absolutely delighted.
Absolutely delighted. And you could see quite interesting in the race how his cerebral palsy actually affects his face as well. and coming around the bend, even just that motion in his face, doesn't seem to throw. You can look here now, there's his cerebral palsy just kicking in and he's coming around, checking the field, but it is still involuntary sort of spasm, I suppose, that I can talk about. Normally with cerebral palsy, you do see athletes really start to tire, but look at him go. He has worked so hard to make sure that his strength overpowers the tiredness you can get from having cerebral palsy.
And just, is it because he's got cerebral palsy that he gets tired, or is it because he gets tired that his cerebral palsy shows more, or is it both? Because it seems when he's tired that you can see he's more obviously that he has cerebral palsy.
Well, you look at the times they're running, 53.31. That is fast. It is fast. So to have, if you could understand the level of their tone and tension they have in their body just to move around, to run 53 seconds is incredible. And these guys train full time. They have probably had moments where their cerebral palsy really kicks in, but just like, I was going to say like you and me, but I have cerebral palsy, but now I'm not competing anymore. But like anybody, if you're not trained and prepared, you will tire. So just because they have cerebral palsy, that shouldn't, impact, because their level of training should override their disability towards the end. And great example of it.
Yeah. My only disability is premature baldness, which and I looked and there's not an event for that, so looks like I'll never be a Paralympian. And also, I was dreadful at sport at school. I play a bit of golf, but there we are. Let's just get a few questions. Marcus G. Fisher says, what about an online vote to see which tracksuit is the best? Marcus goes for Russia first, Ukraine second. And people saying it's great to have a Paralympic commentators, have a Paralympic. So she could be a Paralympic ambassador of the future, I think.
She could be.
Because she's been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
And I think the thing when you watch that is the stuff that you don't see at the games is what happens to get to training and all the hard work behind the scenes. And when you're a T11 or 12 or 13, no one obviously can drive. So even just getting to training is hard work, whether you've got to use public transport or having your team around you. And it was nice to see El Hanini hugging her team, her supporters, that really helped pull it together for her for these games and for the previous. Men's 800 metre T36 final tonight is getting ready on the track.
And Shvetkov of Russia, very much the man to watch, I would think, here. He's someone we've seen over previous nights. We've got a Briton as well in lane 5 who's decent, Paul Blake, and Arafiev of Russia. This is another Nicaraguan, Gabriel de Jesus Cuadra Holman. Colombian, Fabio Gutierrez Torres, 25 years of age. And here's the Russian, Evgeny Shvetkov.
Yes, Shvetkov.
So he's got the fastest time this season, 2:05.05. He's going to be the one to watch, isn't he?
And for people that don't watch a lot of track and field, always tend to look in finals at lane 4, 5 and 6 because they'll be your fastest qualifiers. I can't hear myself. Paul Blake, it must be a great Brit athlete on the track, and it is. There's Shvetkov.
And there's Arafiev, the other Russian. So he's got a Russian either side of him, Shvetkov in 4, Arafiev in 6, and Blake of Great Britain in 5. And as you were saying there, the reason 4, 5 and 6 are the ones to look for is because they do it in qualification time, so the slower ones are on the outside.
Yes.
But then sometimes you get people who are sneaky and deliberately don't go fast in qualifying, like, and then you see someone come from lane 7.
And it's more disadvantage running from lane 8 because it's hard to see where you're positioned based on the staggers. And again, same one. And lane 1 a tighter bend, so you want to be sitting in 4, 5 and 6 just to get a really good race.
T36, these are runners with cerebral palsy. And it's 800 metres, and the winning time will be around about the 2 minutes 5, something like that would be the world record. 2 minutes 5:05. So
2 metres would be good, Jeremy.
2 metres would be very good, wouldn't it? Yeah. I get muddled between my time and my distance.
Well, we do go from one event on the field to the track very quickly, so we apologise if we make any mistakes as we progress throughout the evening.
Absolutely. So it's the Colombian Torres who's taken the lead there. Fabio Gutierrez Torres, and then the Russian just tracking him there.
Shvetkov behind, sitting comfortably.
Then Blake and then Afriev. So the Colombian in the lead. Now, just looking at his time, his season's best is 2:29.89, which is around about 24 seconds slower than the Russian and the two Brits. So he's got no right, really, to be there. I would expect them to come past him. But
And as you're saying that, they probably will.
But he's looking so determined. It's almost as though he wants to be on the camera. He knows he's not going to win, so he thinks, I'll lead the first lap. I don't care if they come past me. I'll be able to tell my family I led in a Paralympic final. But as expected, it's the two Russians and the Brits who come through, and the Colombian's been left behind. Now the crowd roaring here because on the inside, he's overtaking on the inside. You're not allowed to do that in a car, but he's done it on the track. He's overtaken on the inside. Blake from Great Britain going into the lead, and then behind him he's got Shvetkov, and behind him Arafiev. So it's Blake from Shvetkov from Arafiev. Who's looking the strongest, would you say, Katrina?
Well, Blake's doing a good run. I like his style, but Shvetkov doesn't like being behind, and he's going to tell the guys, if you're going to keep up with me, keep up with me now.
Just as I say, who's going to do that? Shvetkov just puts his head down and goes. And this Russian has really set these Paralympic Games alight. Evgeny Shvetkov, and he's being pursued by Arafiev. Shvetkov's going to get it. Arafiev coming really slowly. Blake is out of it now. It's between the two Russians, and Evgeny Shvetkov gets gold in the Paralympic 800 metres T36 final. His compatriot Artem Arafiev gets the silver, and a big cheer for Paul Blake, who gets the bronze. And the rest of the field coming in now, and interested to see where that Colombian is, who led for such a long way.
Yes.
He's gonna come last, isn't he? I haven't seen him come past yet. That's still not him, waiting for the yellow jersey.
And his PB was a 2:29.89. I wonder if the camera will let us see him cross the line.
That's a shame. It's a shame when we don't see everyone cross. You know,
yes.
I'd like to see everyone cross the line, really.
Paralympic record there, 2 minutes and 5 and 32 seconds. In fact, he has the world record of 2:05.05. And gee, he's a strong athlete. I really like the way, as he comes into that home straight, he just turns his head to the side. Yes, I've got it. I'll just have one more look. Yes, I've got it. And have a look here. You come out of the bend, you can see he'll just turn his head to the right soon and just see if anyone's coming. Maybe he was even looking at the screen, because you can at that point. Yeah. There's a look.
He looked at the screen at the other end of the stadium to see how close they were. Yeah.
Yes.
That's good, intelligent use of the technical facilities.
It's nice when you do come around that bend and you're not sure exactly where you are in relation to your stagger, and then you can see that shot if you can do that staying within your process and your focus, and realise that you've got a few metres lead and just hold on with whatever you've got and